So, I'm Brett Cotter. I'm going to give you the quick skinny on me. I got into this work in 1999 because of my own trauma, my own issues. And I got so lucky. I came across somebody that I went to him, quote unquote, spiritual healer in Sedona, Arizona, because I was having an issue with jealousy. And within 5 minutes of sitting down with him, the original traumatic memory surfaced from when I was 5 years old. And then the core jealousy started reverberating through my body and then released. And then the anger underneath it came up and released. Then all the sadness came up that the anger was protecting, and then that released. And then all the fear of abandonment came up from when I was 5 years old, when my parents were getting divorced. And the memory was of my father and mother arguing the exact same way that I argued with all my girlfriends from age 15 to 27. So I went through this kind of a spiritual awakening when I was 27. I got introduced to this work and I haven't looked back ever since. I've been like a moth to a flame. So soon after that, I learned from a 35th generation Shaolin Grand Master named Cam Ewan. He started the Ewan method. He passed away about a year ago. And then my own healing technique came through. And I started coaching around 2000, 2001. My first client I helped with suicidal ideation in 2003. And then people sporadically were expressing suicidal ideation once in a while, probably say like once a month, once every 2 months in my coaching practice. But then when I wrote the 3 keys to managing PTSD, I started working with a lot more first responders and veterans. And there was a few veteran service organizations that were using me like a suicide prevention specialist. So whenever they met a veteran that was really on the, like in a high risk category, they were connecting me with them via text message introductions. And then I was doing on the fly coaching with them. So I really learned a lot. And then in 2023, um, a very large veteran service organization in New York City, the CEO approached me to create a mindfulness based suicide prevention script for their 6-person suicide prevention team. And I created the script, created the training, trained them up, and then I've been training different teams of mental health professionals and peer support specialists ever since. So this is my first kind of free public training to share the material. And I'm really excited about it because it's something that I've seen work since 2003 with suicidal ideation. And I finally got my stuff together to package it in like a clear sequence of training exercises. So I just want to go through the most of those training exercises with you and then answer questions along the way. Does anyone have any questions? First, if you could ask it via chat, um, and then we could tease it out from there. But before we get started, does anyone have any questions about anything I said so far or the email I sent out with the training manual in it? No? Okay, making it easy on me. I love it. Um, we're going to start with preventing burnout, empathy fatigue, and vicarious trauma. Because if you are in the mental health field, let me just ask you this. We have a lot of people in the mental health field here. When one of your clients, patients, or peers that you're helping expresses suicidal ideation, what's the first thing that happens inside of you? What's the first thing that happens inside your body? If you think about it, heart races. Right. Thanks, Jamie. I feel tight, heart hurts, fear response. Yep. I try to stay regulated. Yes, that's what we're going to get into. Fear. Okay. Now, for everyone that is not in the mental health profession that's on this Zoom, I'm so glad that you're here because when we're supporting a loved one who expresses suicidal ideation, it's 10 times worse because they're in our family, right? So that reaction is what the first thing we want to deal with. And I know that it's 10 times worse because I've dealt with it from my, with clients And then I've dealt with it with people in my family and friends. So thank you so much for everything that you all wrote in. We're all on the same page. So when somebody expresses suicidal ideation, it's a natural response for a body to get panicked. The most important thing is to understand is that what your body wants to say, what your stress wants to say, does not help their pain go away. So the first order of business when somebody expresses suicidal ideation is to release the tension from your own body. When the body is calm, right? When you release, I'm going to show you how to release tension from your body. Once the tension releases, your emotions are going to calm and your mind is going to clear. Everything starts in the body. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go into some of the, I'm going to get into some of the guide. All right. So we're going to do an exercise. And if we could just enter into the chat where we feel tension right now, if you just think about some stress going on in your life, right? And it doesn't have to be a big stressor, just any stress that's going on in your life. Let's say moderate stressor. Where do you normally feel tension in your body, right? For me, it's my chest, okay? Stomach, neck, shoulders, all normal areas, right? So if you can reach it, I want you to put one hand on the area you hold tension. If it's your shoulders, you don't really have to bother with it. You can put one hand on your chest and one hand on your stomach, right? If it's in your back, somewhere in your hips, what you could do is just put your attention there. So just I want you to close your eyes and I want you to start breathing deeply and slowly. And I want you to imagine that you're breathing right into the tension inside your body. And if you could touch the tension with your hands, great. If you can't, it's okay. I just want you to put one hand on your heart, your other hand on your belly button. I want you to consciously breathe a little deeper and a little slower. And I want you to use your imagination to just imagine that airflow is moving right through the tension inside you. You're embracing the tension and the emotion with your breath. You're merging the tension and the breath. You're inviting the breath right into the center of the tension. And as you're breathing deeply and slowly, I want you to follow the airflow in and out of your body. And once per breath, I want you to silently say, I'm okay. I'm going to say it out loud. I'm okay. And I know this might sound silly, but in a few breaths, this really unlocks and releases a lot of tension. So we're touching the tightness. We're breathing right into it. I'm okay. Next breath in, we could let out a nice ah sound. 1, 2, 3, inhale. Ah, I'm okay. One more inhale. I'm okay. Okay, did anyone feel any tension release from their shoulders, or did you feel your heart rate? If you felt anything different, if you felt like your heart rate start to slow down, um, right under the bottom lip, just write in yes or write whatever you felt. And it could be your heart rate slowed down a little bit. It could be your shoulders dropped. It could be your face relaxed, right? It could be the tension released. Okay, now typically when I train people in this technique, it's called stress stopper breath work. It was certified by the American Institute of Stress in 2012. I have them practice at night when you go into bed. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly button as you're laying down, breathing deeply and slowly. Once per breath, I'm okay. The tension sometimes moves. If it's in your stomach, it might come up and might go out your shoulder. That's a whole, we could riff on that for a while, but I want to get into the material. Yeah, I'm really glad you said that. The reason why this works is the area that we feel tension when we have an emotional stress trigger is the area in our body where the original traumatic memories are stored. I'll say it again. Let's say your spouse triggers your stress. Our spouse is a stand-in for one of our parents, right? So when I argue with Steph, right, my wife, Steph is a stand-in for all the issues that I have with my mother that were never resolved. So I'm duking it out with my mom through my wife, right? So it's like reflecting, it's a reflection from our original issues. So when we touch the tension, we're getting to the cellular memory. And guess what happens when the calm cells in our hand touch the tense cells where the trauma lives? And we're breathing deeply and slowly. And we're using our imagination to breathe into the tension. And the icing on the cake is the I'm okay mantra. The I'm okay mantra is the reverse logic of our fight or flight reaction, which is I must run or fight to stay alive. So when that stress reaction hears I'm okay, it feels the connection through the touch and it receives the life force in your breath. Literally, your stress goes, what the heck am I stressed for? There's no reason to be stressed. I have the connection, I have the breath, the life force, and I'm hearing that positive thought, I'm okay. So if you do that for 2 minutes, you'll feel the stress release from your body. Okay. Now, how do we fast forward and bring this into our therapy sessions? Great question. Here's how we do it. I've been teaching this technique to like CEOs and directors and people in boardrooms that have big budgetary meetings that are fighting for budget inside of large corporations for their 50 or 200 people that work for them. So it's like survival of the fittest in a room of sharks, right? So it's a very stressful environment. No one needs to know you're doing this. So the way I train the vet to vet peer specialists, and this is going to be the most poignant example, when a vet to vet peer specialist is sitting down with a peer and the peer is expressing some of their PTSD, some of their most traumatic memories, that often triggers the peer specialist PTSD. So what we do is we touch the tension. If your client, your patient goes, hey, why are you touching your chest? Why are you touching your stomach? Here's your answer. Because I really feel what you're saying. And they're going to be like, holy cow, this person's really in this with me. Okay. So remember that. I really feel what you're saying. Now, in reality, what you're doing in the inner reality is you're breathing into the tension, you're touching it, and you're releasing it real time. Just the way this therapist is doing it in this illustration. So the key here is becoming body aware. You know that client that you see on Thursdays at 4 p.m. and you're like, oh man, this person again, I don't know what I'm going to say to them to make it, because you have karma with your clients. Some clients are really smooth, but some is kind of clunky. And some of our clients really bring our stuff up. So this is how we handle it. We become really body aware. And as our stress triggers, we're releasing the reaction real time. And your clients are going to become your biggest healers. Think about that for a moment. Your clients are coming in one by one, giving you these micro triggers to your stress. You're embracing it with your breath and your touch, and you're releasing it real time. You're releasing it real time. So become aware when your body gets stressed, breathe into the tension, right? Releasing the stress, touch the tightness. In the back of your mind, you can silently say, we're okay. The goal here is to remain present. So you can start to use proper body language. Now, look at what it says on the right side here. When someone feels safe, they will allow the layers of their emotions to express. Often anger arises first, then it releases, and then the sadness comes up, and then the fear. Here's the golden nugget that I want you to please take. All emotional pain releases when it has three things: when it's seen, heard, and loved. Now, you don't got to grab your client or the peer and hug them, right? To express your love to them. All you have to do to express that love is to release your stress, remain an open, clear channel, and allow your heart to open, because it naturally will when you're witnessing someone's pain. So you're subconsciously co-regulating with them letting love do the work. This is just the very beginning of this technique. This is the pavement that we walk down with our client. This makes the road less bumpy when we approach it this way. Before we go on to the next step, does anyone have any questions? Please ask away. Thank you, Jamie. Does anyone have any questions? You could raise your hand. You could pop off mute really quick if you have a really concise question. Hey, if you think this is BS, also say that. Okay. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. I know this works, but I want to tease it out. Okay. So again, the goal here is to embrace the tension inside of our body so we can remain clear and present for our patients. Now, check this out. When we're clear and present and we're compassionate, our client, the peer, our loved one, our patients, they will trust us with letting the real icky stuff come up and out. The stuff they've never told anybody, the stuff that might take 5 years on a normal course to get to. This stuff comes up and out in slow moving like plumes. And then you just lean in. All right. So let's see if we have any questions real quick. First, we have to get our patients aware of their bodies. Great point. So let's just go. Let's talk about that a second. If your patient becomes erratic, over emotional while all these things are coming out, here are the two tethers to the present moment: your patient's touch and their breath. So if a patient is losing it or someone's losing it, I say, where's all the tension? I lean right into it. Where's all the tightness? Where do you feel this? And when you get good at this, you're going to be able to feel it. So I know where it is. And I'll say, do you feel it in your heart? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I want you to put your hands there. Let's just take a moment and do a breathing exercise together. And you start breathing deeply and slowly. And you could say, I want you to repeat it right after me, once per breath. I'm okay. We're okay. They might say, I'm not okay. You say, that's okay. Let it come up and go back to the breath. The breath is going to ground them into the body. Now, a lot of our patients, by the time we get to them, by the time they get to us, their emotional nerve endings are fried, right? Because they're all numb. Numbness melts down over time. The more they see, the more they feel safe with you, and the more you guide them back into their body through their breath. The breath will bring them back into the body, and affirmations like it's safe to cry, it's safe to express myself, it's safe to say whatever I'm feeling. And then layers of stuff starts to come up. And sometimes it takes time, sometimes it takes multiple sessions. But that numbness takes a while for them to feel safe, to trust you, to allow the real pain to come up and out. Right? And it's time and commitment. It takes, and then the more you could bring them back to their breath, the more you could embrace the numbness from the inside out. That's what will bring them back into their body. Also, some tapping. You know, like they have the tapping stuff. When I get into tapping, I usually focus on where the tension is inside the body when they're stressed, or where the numbness is. And we work our way from the outside in. As they're tapping, they're breathing deeply and slowly. So they're delivering the life force into the numbness and awakening the cells, awakening those cells, like the synapses, just awakening those connections so they could feel again, and using terms like it's safe to feel again. Just checking the chat, but wonder if I'd be able to actually really do that and stay genuine. Karen, what do you mean, do what and stay genuine? If you could specify exactly what you mean. So whenever we get into an impasse, and we're going to get into the technique deeper now. So if anyone has any questions on this, remember, you're the golden key to all your clients. And if you embrace your own tension real time, the magic's going to move through you. The magic's going to come through you. It's being a clear channel. It's being a clear channel for the solution. Preserved, I mean, preserved is genuine. So oh, that's a great point. When you master this technique for yourself, because the way I teach is all about self-healing, and then you could pass that baton over to the next person, your client. When it becomes real for you and you've actually done it for yourself, that's when it naturally comes through you. You have to create the gateway within yourself to connect with that part of yourself, to clear out any old energy. Tell me more was so helpful with my kid. Oh, all right. So we're going to be getting into that part. Okay, let me see. So now we're going to get into the 5 prompts. What Kim's talking about is the 5 prompts. Tell me more. What's the hardest part to talk about? All that stuff. So first, we're going to do some body language, and then we're going to get into that. We're going to keep the party moving. All right, body language. This is super important. Body language is how you subconsciously help your clients feel safe. This is super important. Super, super, super important. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. 7% of human communication is spoken through words. 93% is through body language. Let that sink in for a moment. Super important. If your client is sitting there in front of you with their arms folded, with their legs crossed, if they are turned away, or more importantly, if you're turned away, have you ever been to a therapist and they were kind of turned a little bit like this, right? So I want you to think about that. And by the way, you have this uh, in the email I sent out. So here's your body language. You want to face them directly, right? Arms distance, maybe a little bit further. Your posture, your spine is straight. You're slightly leaning in with your left side. It's very important to have your left shoulder forward, have your left arm extended. So what that means, if there's a table or a desk in front of you, your left hand is on the desk with your left palm facing up. If there's nothing in between you and your client or your patient, your left palm is on your left thigh facing up. Your left thigh is slightly forward, your left shoulder is slightly forward. The left side of the human body is the receptive side. Okay? Very important to understand this. Your face and your eyes, you're going to talk with your eyebrows when you're listening. That says, wow, I heard that. Right? You're going to lean in. You're going to lean in a slight squint. I'm listening. You want to create a lot of space for them to talk. Your left eye, you're using your left eye to look into their right eye. All of this body language together tells their subconscious, their brain, that they are in control and you are listening. You're the receiver. So any subconscious blocks with, I can't tell her this, I can't tell him this, I'm not comfortable, that's all subconsciously going to go away. And they are just going to start to get the gift of gab and start to tell you stuff. Okay? The thing you don't want to do, you don't want to cross your limbs, you don't want to touch your face, you don't want to fidget, you don't want to look shocked at anything. The things that shock you the most, you want to lean into and just have a little sincere squint so they know that you're not afraid of their fear and their stuff. Okay? Anyone have any questions on body language real quick? Are there any tips for
So,
Zoom?
sorry, I have a question. So, I guess my facial expressions can't really necessarily hold it in sometimes. And how do I avoid like raising my eyebrows or like opening my eyes when I hear details that are like, traumatizing for the patient, like, and still try to, comfort them?
I'm so glad you bring this up. What a great question. It's your breath. It's grounding yourself. And the way we start our sessions, remember the way we're getting into this, we're focused on our breath. We're very body aware, but you're going to love the ending of how we end the session because it's in a state of pure relaxation. And you could do it a minute, 2 minutes before your client walks in or your patient walks in. And as you're going through the experience with them and they're sharing something shocking, you just want to breathe into your own shock and you want to release it. Over the next few weeks, as you're practicing it, your shock is going to melt down and you're going to just be really present and compassionate. You're going to lean into it and And you'd be like, wow, my gosh, what's the hardest part? Right? You'd be really able to lean into it and pull more out of them. So just talking about tone really quick, we want to speak softly. Um, this allows defenses to subside. We want to speak slowly, right? It allows the nervous system to settle down. If your pitch goes up high, you could keep your hand on your belly button, your right hand. That's going to ground you. You ever see opera singers and politicians or public speakers? They have their hand on their belly button sometimes when they speak. That's the grounding cord that grounds our energy, and it's going to ground your pitch, just like I just did. It puts more bass in it. That's a frequency that helps ground your clients and your patients. Mirroring. This is important. This is really good for what your question was. Um, Mirroring during intense moments, you want to halfway match their reaction or what they're showing you, right? Just so they know you're really in it and you're really listening. The don'ts, you just don't want to speak in a higher changing pitch. You don't want to speak quickly. You don't want to speak loud, or in a pure monotone voice the entire time. Okay, what does sincere squint look like? Okay. So you're leaning in and it's not a squint like that, like I can't see you. It's like, wow, I really see you, right? It's like you're just leaning in with compassion and presence and love. Okay. Now we're going to go to our next session, the 5 prompts. So this is what Kim was talking about. She said something really helped in her family. Please tell me more. Now, does anyone ever get into an argument with their spouse, their mom, their children, their siblings, their neighbor? I want you to do this with your most stressful relationship in your entire freaking life. The next time it comes up and they say what they say, right? And the fight's about to start, the ping pong match. They just served it to you. I can't believe you just did that. And you're about to serve it, you're about to return the serve. You always do that. That's not fair, right? You're about to give it back to them. I want you just to lean in with your left side, with your left hand forward, left palm up. You're looking into their right eye with your left eye and just say, please tell me more. Okay. Your husband, your wife, your spouse, your kids are going to be like, what? Right. And you're just going to say, please tell me more. And then you're just going to zip it and you're going to show them the body language of your listening and that they're in control. And you're just going to wait to see what comes out. Whatever comes out, if they are projecting on you, I want you to be like the Matrix and let it go right over your shoulder with a soft, energetic bend to the left, to the right. All the projections going to go right by you, and you're breathing deeply and slowly. You're releasing the stress in your body using the breath work. And when they're done, then you're going to say, I want to hear everything. And now that's going to open up another plume of all the stuff they have inside. Whatever it is. If it's triggering you, you're coming back to your breath, you're releasing it. And that's like the example on like with a loved one in our life, right? Because I want you to use this in your own life. With your patients and your clients and peers, you're just going to lean in and just let them talk and respond with your eyebrows, respond with a nod, respond with a sincere gaze, right? And then when they're done, you're going to say, what's the hardest part to talk about? That opens up a bigger plume, a deeper plume. Now we're starting to break through the subconscious divide when we're talking about what's the hardest part to talk about. Now we're digging deep. The next question, what's your biggest fear about that? Now we have surfaced the subconscious. Now the subconscious fear is on the table. This fear has most likely been with them since they were a child. And you're just using the body language. You're breathing deeply and slowly. You're releasing all the stress from your body. So you are completely present, witnessing them express and release the pain. And then for the fifth statement, the fifth prompt, oh my gosh, what does that feel like? What does that feel like? Now they're getting into their body, right? Now they're getting into their body. During the most intense conversations, remember remember the touch and the breath are your two tethers that connect you to the present moment. So whenever you feel, you know how sometimes you're sitting in front of a client and so much stuff is coming up, you feel like you're starting to lose them, like you're starting to lose a grip on reality. That's, hey, where do you feel that? Where is it? Touch your heart. Put one hand on your belly button. Breathe with me. Come back to the breath. And then let them express more. Open up the space again. Okay, keep expressing. You're doing great. You're doing amazing. I'm right here with you. Right? Does anyone have any questions on this part? So Jane, great question. What if this is on the phone? So I do this coaching every day on the phone. I'm on the phone, it's not on Zoom. And everything I'm saying to you is the stuff that I say in my coaching sessions every day. Thinking recent stressors, two sisters. How hard. Oh, this is when it's our loved ones and there's a lot of karma there. You're breaking karmic chains in your family when you do this. You're breaking ancestral trauma chains, right? That get handed down generation to generation. You're breaking soul agreements so that both parties can live a more at ease, joyful, pleasurable life. Okay. It is important to remove the computer from between you and the client. Is it important to remove the computer between you and your client? So if you're face to face with your client, I would make sure your energy is right. They're in front of you. You know what I mean? Like if if you're both in an office, but if you're in Zoom, you're communicating through the computer, right? That's okay too, right? That's okay too. Um, okay. Now, any final questions on the 5 prompts? Please tell me more. I want to hear everything. What's the hardest part to talk about? What's your biggest fear about that? What does that feel like? These 5 questions surface the subconscious fears, get our clients to express everything, and get into the body. When the core issue comes on the table, when it surfaces itself, you're going to feel it, they're going to know it, because they will be physically and viscerally shaken. So you know the core issues on the table. What do you think we got to do then? When the core issues on the table, and it could be a memory from childhood, it could be a memory of abuse, it could be something that happened, it's going to show itself. Just like it showed itself when I told you the story about me in the beginning of our Zoom, right? When I was 5 years old, the memory came up, and then all the pain started unlocking and releasing from my mind and my body and my heart. The core memory is going to come up. And I want you to use these same 5 prompts again to unpack all the trauma, to tease out all the old emotions from that memory. So we use these 5 prompts to surface the core issue. And then once it's on the table, we provide totally non-judgmental space, totally compassionate, open, loving witness to use these 5 questions again and just tease out and have them express everything. And if they get caught in a loop, they get caught in a rut, we have the tether of the breath and the touch to break them through it. If someone's like, this should have never have happened to me, it should have never, they're caught in a loop, right? They're caught in a neural pathway, an emotional rut. So, hey, where do you feel that? Oh my gosh, I'm right here for you. Touch the tension, start breathing into it deeply and slowly. We're going to breathe together. And once you feel the tension release in a few minutes, then you get back into the session, you check in where they are at. Let me just see if there's another question. Okay. So now we're going to go to the transition for breath work. I kind of just walked you through this. Once the core issues on the table, they expressed it all. There's still going to be some tension in the body. It's going to feel really raw. So we're going to touch it. We're going to breathe into it. We're going to express all our feelings. And then you notice number 4 here. Okay. Number 4 is a very empowering step. It's called receive. Now, while breathing deeply and slowly, this is you talking to your client, right? Please repeat each phrase after me. Now, just so you know, where there's a comma, you're going to pause and let them repeat, just like we did in the beginning of our Zoom. I unlock and release. The client's going to say, I unlock and release. All the sadness and pain all the sadness and pain from my heart. They say, from my heart, right now. When they say that, the subconscious goes into action. When the core pain is on the table and you've helped them express all the stuff that they've never expressed for decades by just giving them open, loving space, and then you give them this empowering statement, it's like the icing on the cake, and they actually feel any of the old residue that's still there unlock and release from their body. So that's a really key point to the technique. Any questions on that? Am I losing y'all? Am I going? Oh, cool. Okay. I get worried when I have no questions. You guys are stressing me out. I'm just kidding. Um, is the core issue decided at the beginning of the session, or do you see what comes up organically? Great question. I'll just reflect on my retreats. People come to my retreats. They're like, I just, God forbid, lost a loved one. I just had a relationship breakup. I just lost my job. I have all this overwhelming anxiety, whatever it is. But once we start doing this technique, it goes back to something in childhood because that's where all this stuff is. And the universe wants us to cleanse all of the old pain from our formative years so we could fully be here. So it does come up organically. They might come in for an issue with their supervisor, but then it goes to their spouse and then it goes to one of their parents. And it just starts coming up and releasing. It's like you're creating a vessel to release now. You're creating a pathway to release. How do you deal with someone when someone says stop with the new age bullshit? As I've heard that. Okay, so which part of this to you do you feel is most new agey bullshitty? Because then I could address which which aspect. Maybe the I'm okay part. Just let me know like which things specific. And if I do get challenged on that, here's the thing. I ask people what is most important to them. And this is what I found. This is really interesting. When someone's core pain is on the surface, when someone's core pain is on the surface that's been buried for 30, 40, 50 years, and you ask them the question, how do you like to refer to a higher power? Oh, all of a sudden they become a person of faith. Guess what? Because they don't want to feel that pain no more. But if you asked them 2 hours ago, they probably would have said, I don't even know about that stuff, right? So the step 4 process require to be done with another person, or can it be done? Oh, all this stuff should be done within ourselves. This is how we handle our stress. This is how I handle my stress, right? So when I get really stressed out, number one, I allow myself to cry on the spot. I provide my emotions are number one in my life. I give myself emotional space when I need it, when I want it. Little secret, I cried right before we started this Zoom because things want to come through me, and anything that is in the way of it just unlocks and releases. So when I'm driving into Omega or the Himalayan Institute or Kripalu to do a retreat, often tears come up and it clears the pathway for me to be fully present. So I encourage you to embrace this work within yourselves. So the way this was for me, I dove into this work for myself and then I was able to share it with others. This is a new technique for you. So embrace it within yourself, right? Touch your own stress. Breathe into the emotion. That's how we started this Zoom. Express your feelings. And when you say, I unlock and release all this anger, frustration, sadness in my heart right now, you can also use words for a higher power. If you like the word universe, source, right? Universe, unlock and release all the inner pain from my chest right now. It's very powerful when that pain's on the surface. If it's not on the surface, it's most likely you're not going to get the correction. But when you've broken through the barriers of the subconscious, something special happens because I feel the universe has been waiting for us to do this, to get the core issues that have been buried on the surface. And then everything activates around us energetically. So we have a lot of resources energetically at our fingertips. So when you say that phrase and you're breathing deeply and slowly, you feel that pain release from your body and your soul. So I encourage you to play with this technique and really dive into it. This is something I wanted to share just because I thought we are going to get a good amount of mental health professionals on our Zoom today. It's just about anger and the process of unpacking it, right? So anger is always a top layer. It's protecting sadness. Sadness is a reflection of a fear which came from a trauma. The trauma spawned an illusion, a core belief that's an illusion, which put us in fear, which then made us sad. And then we had enough of the sadness, and then we got angry to protect our sweet selves from feeling that sadness again or from anyone else hurting us again. So, the way to unpack it, these are the discovery questions. What does the anger want to say? What sadness is the anger protecting? So, when I'm angry, I usually say to myself, the saddest part is, and then I leave it blank, and then my mind fills in the blank. And it's like, oh my God, now I just access the sadness that's underneath all the frustration. Then when I'm there, what does the sadness want to say? I express it with no censor, no judgment. What's the sadness afraid of? Now I'm in the fear. What does the fear want to say? Express it all. Hey, where did this fear come from? Okay, what trauma did it come from? Right? What is it most afraid of? Who did it want to protect me? Who did I want to protect me when that happened? What do I want to say to them? So now we're sorting out core issues, right? We're cleansing the innermost point of our perspective, those deep subconscious core beliefs that got clouded, and they clouded how safe we felt we were and how safe we felt we were in the world. Any questions on this? I know we're moving fast. Um, the emotional body model. This is a game changer. I'm going to share this with you, make it a little bit bigger. Hopefully here this works. All right. When you're surfacing core issues, pain or emotion is going to feel in certain areas in your body. Remember when I asked you in the beginning, where do you feel tension when you're stressed? Some people said the neck, shoulders, stomach, heart, chest, right? That tells us a story. So if you feel stress in your face, that comes from cellular memories, from past experiences. When we were facing too much, we felt we couldn't face it. If we have tension in our jaw or we're a grinder at night, that comes from repressed anger. If we have tension in our throat, let's say our supervisor at work, when we get stressed out with our supervisor, we feel tension in our throat. That means those are from times we knew what to say, but we held back our words anyway. Sometimes we work from stress or long-term stress and long-term relationships, we feel it in our stomach. That's where we push down our emotions for years. Sexual trauma and abuse usually stores in our hips. Our back is where we store memories of not feeling supported. If it's on the right side, we don't feel supported by the masculine energy or the men in our life or our father or a male spouse or a male supervisor. If it's on the left side, we don't feel supported by the feminine. We don't feel supported by our mother, a female spouse, or a female supervisor, right? And these are the affirmations on how to let it go. Any questions on the emotional body model? You could play in there forever. Really, what this is really good for is when you have clients and they have a pain in their heart or in their solar plexus and it's just not releasing and you're touching it, you're breathing into it. You could give them one of these affirmations to repeat after you nice and slow. And usually after around 4 or 5 repetitions of deep, slow breathing with that affirmation, it'll release on the spot. Just trying to see if we have any other. Okay. And then hearing inmates say, stop with the, all right. Fighting the feelings is why they don't wish to try it at that second. Okay, so when you're working with a group of, let's say, alpha males or alpha females that have a lot of guard up. So I was an anger management consultant in a building that housed all the high school students that get kicked out of Hempstead High School for fighting. So every time the bell rang, there was a brawl in the hallway. They gave me a room. I asked them for a heavy bag. I would bring the person in that started the fight and I have them start hitting the heavy bag. And I would ask them, who are you most angry at? And then they would get angry and start punching the bag. And I would say, who are you most angry with in your entire life? And then 2 more questions, they'd be crying. Remember, there's always sadness below the anger. The anger is protecting the sadness. So if we could get the person to go there, which they might not go there in a group, especially in a prison where your guard's got to be up, but one-on-one, you could probably get them to go there. Um, you could play with the emotional body model with your own stress. Here is what we all came for, the suicide prevention flow chart, right? Here's the flow chart. The top part is very similar to what typical suicide prevention protocols are, right? Listening, empathy, sympathy, less is more, listen, empathy, sympathy, encouragement, expression, connection. You're assessing risk, right? If there is risk, then you're looping in 911, you're keeping the individual engaged. But this is where stress is gone. This is what I was paid to do, to create that mindfulness-based suicide prevention script and train that first team a few years ago, transitioning to breath work and then closing the session. So here we go. So we are supporting someone and they said, I don't want to be here anymore. No one wants to hear this, right? None of us want to hear this, but we're hearing it a lot and we're going to hear it a lot more. So I'm leaning in. Please tell me more. Or, oh my gosh, please tell me more. And you have the right body language. They don't feel threatened. They know that they're in control. They know that you're listening and you're just patiently waiting for them to express themselves. I want to hear everything. And then you zip it. What's the hardest part to talk about? And then you zip it. You let them go for as long as they want to go. If they want to go 10 minutes, 20 minutes, let them take the whole session. Start to wind it down about 10 minutes to your session. So it's not like you got to cut it short and they have to leave your office, right? What's the biggest fear about that? What's your biggest fear about that? What does that feel like? Right? And now, once the core issue's on the surface, you could repeat steps 1 through 5. You could read those 5 prompts to air everything out, air out all the old dirty laundry. And then you encourage, we're in this together. I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here with you. Then you transition to breath work. Do you feel any tension inside your body? I guarantee 99% of the time, they're going to say they feel some tension because they were probably bawling their eyes out. You could say, do you feel any emotional tension inside your body? Right? They're going to say yes. And then you could just gently say, would you like to do a breathing exercise to see if we could release some of that tension? All right, touch it. Touch the tension. Start breathing deeply and slowly. Do this with me. I'm doing it with you. We're in this together. All right. And this is where you could use the emotional body model, right? If it's in their heart, this is where you could use just, I'm okay. You could use whatever affirmation feels right. But those are the easiest ones to use. The ones from the emotional body model, depending on where they had their tension, or just, I'm okay now. I'm going to be okay. I'm okay now. And you breathe deeply and slowly. You only say the affirmation once per breath cycle. So it's like, I'm okay. And you're breathing with them. You're co-regulating. You're anchoring it in with them. I'm okay. After you bring them down to a place of calmness and inner peace, ask, how are you doing? If the person says okay or anything like positive, you proceed to these 5 steps. If they say anything other than that, you go back to the 5 prompts. There was something that we missed. Something else came up in the process, and you want to tease it out if you have the time, right? So closing out our sessions with confidence. You want to confirm there's no risk of harm. This is the toughest question to start to get comfortable asking. I want you to get really comfortable asking this, because when you do this right, you're going to love asking this question because you already know the answer. Okay. Asking permission to do the practice like breath work is important. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why, I feel like this work is so deep, but if they feel they're in the driver's seat, like they're driving the bus and you're right next to them. Like there's a clear partnership and it's like a gentle dance. Sometimes they feel like they're leading it and you're observing it. Sometimes you're leading them into the next step, right? It's like a gentle, organic, symbiotic dance to get through this. It's a slow dance while you're breathing deeply and slowly. You're releasing the tension from your body. You're staying a clear channel for this so that you're intuitively guided to the next step and when, right? Um, yeah, I like the breath work points in red. Okay, so the points in red, are you talking about the red and white points? That's to keep the person engaged if they are suicidal and they're on the phone with you, because I train crisis lines, right? So this is to keep them engaged after 911 is involved. And in our suicide prevention family handbook, we have like 3 pages of these. I only put like, I guess, 6 or 7 in here. So getting back to the closing the conversation with confidence and clarity, you want to first confirm there's no risk of harm. Hey, how you doing? Are you feeling a little calmer or a little lighter? Do you have any thoughts whatsoever of hurting yourself or anyone else? Right? And usually what you're going to get is a sigh of relief from them. You get like, absolutely not. I feel I'm all good right now. Like I haven't felt like this in years. Right? Then you're going to connect them to support services, other support services, because sometimes, like when stuff comes up, like a lot of big stuff, especially for a peer specialist that's sitting down with a veteran or first responder for the first time, they might be hooking them up with legal services, financial services, all different stuff, AA meetings, things like that, right? So you're going to connect them to the services. Then the personal support system. Who's a family member that you can trust that's compassionate and empathetic and is a good listener? Oh, that's my Aunt Sally. Okay, we're going to write down your support system right now. Put it in your phone in your notes. Aunt Sally, what's her phone number? Put it in. Who's a friend that is empathetic, sympathetic, and is a good listener? Okay, write it down in your list of support system, right? Who's a mental health provider that you really feel comfortable with and you could open up with? Now, really, it's going to be you, right? If you're a mental health professional. And then you could text them the relaxation tool that you just did. You could actually text them stressed out for breath work. There is an image of it that we have on Instagram, all over the place. But you text them. It's just the 3 steps. Touch the tension, breathe deeply and slowly, and once per breath, silently say, I'm okay. Right? And then step 5 is a follow-up game plan, a clear follow-up game plan. Now, if suicidal ideation comes up in the conversation, right? A little friendly text the next day, something like that, or a check-in call in the next 3 days, or another session in the next 3 days. When someone has suicidal ideation, I think 2 sessions on the minimum a week is really important, at least until they are past that, they move through that suicidal ideation. And then following up on the well-being support services and the support system. Okay. And this is like a general flow chart to our coaching sessions and how we do it, right? We have discovery, which is 10 minutes to surface the core issue. Then we're unlocking and releasing stuff for minimally 15 minutes or so. And this is for like a peer support specialist. For a counselor, a therapist, you have an hour with somebody usually, or 45 minutes. So that will go up to like 30 minutes of releasing. And then 10 minutes for grounding and empowering. Here's the icing on the cake. This is where it all comes home. This is where we land the plane safely. After you've done all that, you close your session with 2 minutes of stress stopper breath work that you're guiding them through it. Okay, we're going to do this together. You're going to really anchor in the co-regulation component, right? Then you have them guide you through it. You have them teach it back to you for 2 minutes. So show me how to do it. All right. So does anyone know how to do this? I want you to show me how to do it right now, being as we're at time. Remember the steps. Touch the tension, breathe deep and slow. Once per breath, silently say, I'm okay. Does anybody in our Zoom feel comfortable enough to guide me through it right now? Stacy's shaking her head. Yes, I see her. If anyone wants to take a shot at it, I would love for you to take a shot at it. And I'm going to guide the group through it right now for 1 minute. Let's all do it together. And then if somebody decides at that point after that, that would be cool. But if not, no big deal. So I'm going to touch my heart. You touch wherever you feel tension or wherever you normally get tension. You're breathing deeply and slowly, embracing the tightness, feeling the airflow coming in through our nose, opening up our sinuses, releasing any tension from behind our eyes. I'm okay. Following the airflow a little deeper into our lungs, feeling it swirl around our heart. I'm okay. Embracing any tension from the inside out, unlocking and releasing it. I'm okay. I am okay. Breathing deep and slow, following the airflow. I'm okay. Touching the tension, breathing deep and slow, once per breath, saying, I'm okay. I'm okay. I am okay. All right. Now, does anybody want to take a swing at it? I'm throwing you the ball underhand. Does anyone want to take a Barbara in the
Hi
UK?
there.
Take it
Yeah,
away.
all right. So, Brett, I'm hearing what you're saying. I can feel the tension. I want you to just take a slow, deep breath into your body. Put your hand on your heart and just where in your body are you feeling this tension?
In my chest and in my midsection on the left side.
Okay. Put your hand then, if you can, into the part that you feel it's getting you the most. And just, I want you to breathe with me slowly. I want you, as you're breathing in gently, I want you to relax your eyes, relax your jaw, relax your shoulders, and just breathe into that part of your body where the tension is. And just allow your body to relax. And just feel that tension and your hand. How does it feel?
It feels like there's some airflow getting in there.
Good. Yes. So
I'm starting to
again,
become more aware of the tension in there.
good. That's excellent. You're doing well. So again, take a nice, slow, deep breath into that parts of your body, remembering to relax your eyes, relax your jaw, relax your throat, your shoulders and your neck as you go deeper and deeper into that part. And just allow that as it's circling, that air coming into it, just allow the tension and to breathe into it and calm it as it will help you to relax. And I want you to say to yourself, I'm okay. Repeat after me and say it. I am okay.
I'm okay.
Excellent. And breathe gently into your body again, just relaxing all through your body, relaxing that part and allowing the tension to go and saying, I'm okay.
I'm okay.
And just gently as you're breathing, keep saying it to yourself. And as you're allowing your body to flow the tension out of your body, what you're doing is relaxing that fight and flight stress response in your body so your body can calm down and we can work together. So just allow your body. And again, say it out loud. I'm okay.
I am okay.
Tell me now how you're feeling now.
I feel really good.
Excellent. Thank you, Brett.
I feel really good.
Good.
Thank you, Barbara.
Okay.
Thank you. That was awesome. So just what happened there is what I want for you all, because the world is crazy, right? The clients are coming to you for help. There's just going to be more and more people coming to you for help. And we will get burnt out if we continue to do it in the old way, right? Because we're absorbing their stress when they say it. So we have to release it real time. So we're cleansing out as they're showing us, right? So what's happening is there's a symbiotic relationship between the therapist and the patient, right? They're showing all the stuff, it's triggering stuff from the therapist. The therapist is releasing and holding space. They're releasing and expressing. The therapist is releasing clandestinely. And then at the end, there's a beautiful, beautiful wraparound turnaround where the client is guiding you through it. Now, just imagine how you would feel after a year of all of your sessions ending with that, how good your clients and your patients will be at stress stopper breath work, at handling their stress, and how relaxed you will be going into your next session. So this is something that I hope you take away. When we think about what I just showed you, I just want to share my screen one more time here around the suicide prevention protocol. This this thing right here is a lifesaver, right? And each of these parts, we just touched on it, like the very tip of the iceberg. These questions, the nuances, it goes so deep. Every section, how do we transition to breath work? It's easy, but you could take it and master it and make it yours. You could take the ball and run with it right here and then come back next week, get all your questions answered, and just rock and roll with it. There's also another thing in the email that I don't know if you saw, but I'm just going to share it with you really quick right now. It is the suicide prevention specialist training that we have here, right? We have these two free ones, and I'm just going to share this with you, the link in the chat, so you could see what it is. So we do these trainings, but we go into each section and we go deep, right? So I do training, mentorship, and certification, right? For suicide prevention that reverses burnout, stops vicarious trauma, know what to say and how to save lives, right? So these are the different tools that you learn in it, right? So I'm going to put the link here in the chat. And if anyone is interested in learning more or mastering these tools, there is a quick action 50% discount. Normally that program is $199 a month. For the next, until tomorrow, it's going to be $99 with the healing coupon code if you want to go and like dive into this hardcore, right? If you want to dive in. So the coupon code is healing for 50% off, right? And it's 2 Zooms a month. We just spent an hour together. I'm sorry, 2 Zooms a week. We just spent an hour together. These 2 Zooms are 45 minutes each. So we spend an hour and a half together. And that's once a week. And it's casual. You come when you can come, right? It's Thursday night at 7 or Friday at 12 noon. And you get the replays. So we dive deep into the material. You get to bring your complex cases and we get to tease it out. And yeah, it's been going great. We've been doing it for a little while now, and it's helping a lot of people. It's helping a lot of mental health professionals come better at what they do. Add a really cool tool to your tool belt. You could stay in for a month, get all your questions answered, or you could stay in for 6 months and get certified. So we're going to dive deeper next week. Today was like the intro. I encourage you all to come back next week, next Friday, with a ton of questions, right? With a ton of questions. And try to implement some of this stuff this week. And you could bring in questions from scenarios that you've encountered. You could try it with your family stress, any relationships that are stressed before you bring it to your clients. Try it with yourself, the breathing technique. Anything that interests you, you could send me a quick email. But I would really encourage you to dive into it. Like I said, in 1999, I became a moth to a flame to this work, and I love sharing it. If you had a good time with me, come back next week. Feel free to ask any more questions. We do have a few minutes right now if anyone has any questions about anything we talked about today. So if you have any questions, feel free, and you could come off mute and just, ask away. You guys, no questions. It's like pulling teeth over here. All right, so I'm going to give you a prize. I'm going to give you a free month in the membership for whoever asks a question. It's got to be a decent question though. Come on. Anyone
I
got a
don't have
I'd
a
like
question?
to
question,
ask a
Brett.
question. Oh,
Okay,
you go
I believe
first.
Owen just came off mute first, and then we'll go to the next person who came off mute.
I don't
Okay.
have a question, Brett. I just wanted to say that was great. I'm familiar with a lot of your work, and I actually carry a lot of the little tools and the cards and stuff. Like I told you, I carry them in my pocket always. Stress stopper breath work helped me through panic attacks on the bus, trains, things like that. I really like the suicide prevention thing because I have friends. I'm in therapy all the time, so I talk to a lot of my veteran brothers about a lot of the stuff they're going through. And the five prompts reminded me of how important they are. And that's something that I know I can use when we're working it out in therapy every Monday. So I always take a lot of what you teach and try to implement that in my life as well as trying to help others too. So I just want you to say thanks. I just want to say thanks. That was great.
Brother, thank you for being here and thank you for being you, man.
Always.
Yeah, thank you. Now, was there another question?
That was me, Kimmy.
Kimmy.
Hi, everybody. I'm not sure who was all on here because I'm on my phone. I was driving and listening,
Mhm.
but now I'm at home. I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are on helping family with suicidal ideation. I mean, I have a sister who goes through this almost every single year, and I just don't feel like it's very productive, even though I've learned the tools. And, I think it's a complicated situation. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that.
So we have karma with family members and it gets clunky fast. And the main thing is releasing the tension from your body when it's getting clunky between you and your sister. Because when it clears in you, it clears the pathway between the two of you. And it only takes one person to break the chain. So when you do that, you're actually opening it up for her. So when you release the tension inside of you and you allow it to be clunky, right? And you become okay with that.
Yeah.
And you start to accept the unacceptable and love the unlovable within you, that energy starts to reverberate and connect with her subconsciously. And then she can start to open up. But really, it's about not judging. When you're connecting with her and she's expressing stuff to you, it's just staying open and continuing to listen. And then
Yeah.
knowing where the bookends are, right? If someone's in danger of harming themselves or anyone else, get them to the hospital, right?
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, she's had to go many, many times. So, that's nothing new to us. So I always have like the plan of where she needs to go, all that good stuff.
Yeah. And I think it's, when you approach the fence of that, from like, hey, I'm talking to her versus we're going to the hospital. It's just the more compassion and love and being there for her in a way that maybe no one else has ever been there for her
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
providing a lot of open space and support. And I'll say the people that have done our training program, like the veterans that have come into the training room. Now, these are veterans that call the suicide hotline, call 988 and stuff like that to get weekly therapy, right? So they use 988 regularly. They come into our training room and the feedback they've had on this technique is incredible. They've never been so heard. Number one, they never felt so connected. And this is over the phone. They're talking to the counselors over the phone, but then we bring them in from other rooms to actually get real-time feedback in our training room from the people they were just helping, right? So they're hearing directly from it. So the key stuff is they've never felt so heard. They've never felt so connected. And then people, when they experience the breath work for the first time, they say, that breath work was amazing. So it's us becoming comfortable guiding our client through that breath work, right? And you want to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
it when they've aired out all of their stuff. So this is where it gets dicey between sisters and family members, because family members know you as a sister. They don't know you as a therapist, as this person, right? So like breath work with you, get out of my face, right? So that trust me, I get it. I get it from my family. You're not the only
I
one.
have one sister who's like looking for my videos on the breathwork. She's like, "Oh, that's so good." And then I have the other sister who's like, struggles with depression. So they're all over the place.
Look, our families are a bag of mixed nuts. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just the way it is. We are. I am.
Yes, definitely.
But it's like when we
I
accept
didn't
it.
know what your thoughts were on helping family with all of this, because this is honestly probably the first person really close to me that I've helped with this stuff. So,
I find it.
I'm using all the tools. I get my book out, I'm doing the stuff, and she's stayed out of the hospital this so far. And honestly, this is probably one of the worst situations she's been in her life. So I think the tools are helping. But I kind of thought, well, I should probably check with Brett to see if he thinks this is a good idea or not.
Connect with her more, stay
Okay.
connected with her more. And I did an Instagram post last week, and there was like a really wild comment. This guy, it was about suicide prevention, and it was so this guy said, just tell them if they are going to do it to call you, because you want to be there so that they're not alone. And then he said,
Wow.
watch their minds
Wow.
change.
Yeah.
I was
That's
like, I get blown away by doing this work just because of the
wow.
people I meet and the stories I hear. But when I saw that comment, I was like, whoa, that was like something that I never heard before, you know? Yeah. So I just feel like going, not pulling back, leaning in, letting
Hmm.
your intuition guide you, right? And there was another person that was in one of our training programs last year. She was she's a suicide prevention specialist and what kind of counselor? Certain kind of counselor. Anyway, a friend of hers was struggling with suicide for many years, and he was just like, "I'm going to do it." And she's like, "Look, if you're going to do it, can you please just give me a sign from the other side that you're okay when I'm in meditation?" And he was like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, I want a clear sign that you're okay." And that intuitively happened and came through her, right? And he didn't do it. Like he didn't go to commit suicide. That changed that was like a monkey wrench in his whole um, thought process. I'm not saying for you to use that line. I'm saying that in the moment, your intuition, not your body's stress reaction, your intuition, when you're really present and you are a clear vehicle for spirit to come through you and throw that person a lifeline, just trust it, lean into it, have your heart open, and good things will happen, right? When you're trusting your heart and you're not going from the racing heart, right? From all the
Yeah.
stress. You're not coming from there. Now, when we're dealing with family members, usually our stress is like through the roof. I'm just talking to you from personal experience.
Yeah,
We have karma with
definitely.
our family members, right? We have so much built
Oh,
up
there's a
stuff.
lot of karma there. Yep.
Yeah. So I would look to resolve it in you and then bring that new version of yourself to that situation. Follow your intuition, release the stress, and then be fully present, fully compassionate with her and just listen. Something weird will pop out. I guarantee if you find that place in you and you resolve that karma in you, you'll open up space for her. And that thing that she hasn't been able to really tell anybody will wiggle out and she'll express it. And you'll have seen it. And I'll close on this. All emotional pain will unlock and release from the body when it's seen, heard, and loved. Please remember that.
I wrote that on the front of my page.
You're awesome, Kim.
Mic drop.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Big hugs, everybody. Big hugs. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the great work you do in the world. We moved quick. Just grab what you want to grab. You have the training guide. I sent it out in the email. I'm going to actually put it in the chat right now so everybody has it. Next week, I'm going to share the Suicide Prevention Family Handbook. So you have that. And you'll have all my good stuff to work with. If you want to self-learn, If you want it done for you, where I'm coaching you through learning this, then just feel free and join the mentorship program. We dive into it. We're in it. We get into it deep, and it's all about healing ourselves and then being able to pass that baton to our clients from a place of wholeness, unconditional love, and compassion. So God bless you. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you here next Friday. Bye for now, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you, Brad.